What? Who wrote this? What in the world did I just watch? I need to take off my glasses because I need y'all to understand and see behind my eyes, because her eyes were not where we needed to be watching. Hey guys, what's good? You know what's really good? Today we are back. I know we're in a different location, but that does not mean we do not have access to Molly's world, where, you know, we hop in the director's seat, sip on our treats, and get into the real good deeds. And today we are going to be reviewing the newly released Netflix original series, Behind Her Eyes. Let's get into this series review. Action. If you have not seen this yet, I advise you to stop here, because I'm probably going to say spoilers. I'll try my best not to, but I probably will. I love the characters in this show. For some reason, the woman who played Louise, Simona Brown, she just looked like Issa Rae. Eve Houston, I don't know where she came from. I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else, but I live for a bob. If you know me, you know I live for a bob. So when I saw her creepy self with that bob, I was like, yes, Adele, I'm here for you. I am definitely here for the bob. Now, within every show, there's always a scandal. And the scandal surrounded around David, who is played by Tom Bateman. Honestly, truly, the show kind of starts off slow, the first couple episodes, but I feel like it picks up pace probably by episode 3. But it's because the way episode 3 ends. I feel like each episode ends in a very like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening type of way. And it keeps you like going like, whoa, okay, where is this leading? And you kind of like, because it's so slow, you're kind of like waiting for that like climactic change. But then it's like the climactic change, like it hits you all at once, but at the same time, it's like you recognize it's been happening all along. You just didn't recognize it's been happening. Like, oh shit. Now I go back and I'm like, oh my God, that makes total sense. I knew something was wrong with Adele from the jump. Something was weird about her. Very, very, very weird. Not only from the previews that I saw, I just knew something was wrong in her mind. And we would say that she is the show villain, but really and truly she is not. And that is me trying to prevent you from getting a spoiler, but she is not the show villain at all. She is not the villain. Because she's not the villain. She is not the villain. And let me just give you guys a background, because I know I'm running my mouth because I'm still in freaking shock. But basically, Louise is this secretary who works in a psychiatrist's office, and the new psychiatrist that comes in, technically her boss, is Dr. Ferguson. But the night before she finds out that that is her boss, she met him at a bar and they kissed. Now, when she finally gets to work and finds out that Dr. Ferguson is her boss, she recognizes that he's married. And she hides in a bathroom, etc., etc. The same way anybody would, to be honest, because I would hide in the bathroom. Like, goddamn, like, I just kissed this man and he's married and he's my boss? What are the damn odds? As the story continues and progresses, we learn that there's more to the Fergusons, I would say. And there's a line that they said in the movie, in the very first episode, I think. And Dr. Ferguson, David says, we're just as messed up as everyone else. We're just better at hiding it. And all this time that their tension is building, Louise is having like these night terrors, which are like, hers are like really bad. Like, I thought I had night terrors and nightmares but like sis was really like sleepwalking and nearly fell off the damn balcony. Like, it was insane. Like, I was like, oh my God, I feel for her. I'm scared for her. And she has a son. So it's like she doesn't want to scare her son, and she doesn't want to be a liability to him, because it's like she could wake up in the middle of the night and end up hurting him and not knowing that she was hurting him. So it was very scary for her to be having these night terrors at this age. And coincidentally, Adele, who is Dr. Ferguson's wife, also had these night terrors. And I feel, honestly, she orchestrated her meeting up with Louise. If you watch the show and you watch it till the end, you will know that she definitely orchestrated it. She orchestrated meeting Louise only because she recognized that Louise was having night terrors as well. But in the show, they're hinting to the fact that people who have night terrors also have the ability to astral project. Now, if you know me, I always said that for some reason my dreams feel like I astral project and I have superpowers. Like, it's nobody gonna change the fact that I knew I had superpowers. But this was some different type shit. This was on some creepy shit. Like, she was spying on people and actually like heightening her astral projectio, however you say that damn word, astral projecting powers, and spying on Louise the entire time. I'm trying my best not to spoil it, but I think I need something, because we need something stronger, because here is where we're probably going to spoil it. So if you're looking at this video right now, turn back now, because the spoilers come. And before I spoil it, I'm going to take a sip because this is heavy. That's good. That's real. That's good. Back to the spoiler. So, we learn about Adele's past, and in her past, we know that she went to rehab for drugs, etc. But it was kind of like a rehab for like crazy people, so like a mental institution, where she met this boy named Rob. Now, Rob became like her best friend or whatever, and when she escaped, not necessarily escaped, but when she got out from this mental institution, she automatically went into marrying David, Mr. Ferguson. So now she's engaged to David, but she's also best friends with Rob. And Rob and David are staying in her old house. Her old house is not actually a house, it's a fucking mansion on an estate. Like, when I tell you what estate, I mean acres of land. It's just sitting there. But they're living in this mansion that has been partially burned down because when Adele was 17, the house caught on fire. Now, Rob suspected that it was David who actually set the house on fire in order to kill Adele's parents and then marry Adele and get the money from Adele. Which makes perfect sense because now he's married to Adele and he actually has and is in control of all her finances. But at the same time, after Adele was released from this mental institution, we learned that Rob came with her. Rob is still on drugs. He's still doing crazy shit. But he also can astral project because Adele taught him how to astral project. And we learned in the very final episode that Adele taught Rob how to astral project, and Rob came up with the idea that maybe if they astral project and their souls and their spirits, which I love how their souls and their spirits come out of their body, it's like a soft glowing ball, as you can see. My eyes match their auras, as you would say. But their souls come out of their bodies, and Rob suggested that, hey, what if we can actually switch? And they switched. Adele and Rob switched. And as soon as they switched, Rob remained in Adele's body and murdered Adele and threw her down a well in Rob's body. So this entire time, David is here thinking that he murdered, or this entire time, David is thinking, because this is what Adele, who's actually Rob, said. Adele told David that Rob committed suicide by overdose, so she dragged his body and threw it down the well with his watch, which was a lie, because actually we find out in the very last episode that Adele and Rob switched souls and bodies, and Rob actually murdered Adele, who was in his body, and then threw his own body down the well, and then proceeded to engage in a marriage with David because he actually was obsessed with David and wanted to love David and only wanted David to himself. Yes, he wanted David. So he put himself in Adele's body and was pretending for 10 years plus to be Adele. And now here comes Louise. But before they met Louise, there was another woman. What was her name? Her name was Marianne. And Adele, who we find out at the end of the movie is not actually Adele, it's actually Rob, threatened Marianne and told that bitch to get the fuck away from her man before she killed her. So Marianne was a mistress that David, ended up liking because he just felt lonely in his marriage and he felt like Adele was not normal. Like, this is not the same person I fell in love with. Of course it's not the same person you fell in love with because it's not the same person. It's actually Rob inside of Adele's body. But here we are repeating the same situation again, but with Louise. But, like I said before, Marianne was different. Marianne was a regular mistress. Here we have Louise who can also astral project. So what did Rob inside of Adele's body do as Adele? Adele, who's actually Rob, pretended to be friends with Louise, taught Louise how to astral project, and when Louise actually learned it on her own, Adele set up this ultra master plan to make it look like she was killing herself, setting the house on fire and needed to be freed by somebody, and lured Louise to the house, and then Louise tried to astral project to see if Adele was still alive, and as she astral projected, it was a setup because the spirit actually hopped inside of Louise's body, and Louise ended up being sucked inside of Adele's body, so then they switched bodies, and then we come to find out that that was the plan all along for them to switch bodies, and for Louise to die, and in my mind I'm like, fuck, Watching this, we didn't know yet. But in my mind, I'm like, fuck, Louise is dead. Adam is going to be left without a mother. Like, this is insane. I mean, I know he has his father, but what is going to happen to Adam? I fucking hate Adele. I want to kill Adele. But then the memory plays and flashes back to Adele and Rob switching bodies. So I'm like, fuck it, Adele was never there. So this whole time I'm sitting thinking, Adele is a wicked bitch. It's not even Adele, it's Rob the entire time. And now they go off and get married, and Rob is inside of Louise's body, married to David, and they still have Adam. And now they just ran off and got married. But Adam is gonna save the day, because Adam also can astral project. This is me manifesting this. Adam can astral project, and he's gonna save the day, and he's gonna figure it out, and he's gonna kill Rob. I said what I said, and that's on period. This shit tastes really good. I don't know what else to say, but this show was damn good. I know it started off kind of slow, but it was good. It was good. It got me thinking. Because, like, I want to know how to astral project, but at the same time, I'm like, hold up. I ain't switching bodies for nobody. I like this. I mean, I know some people want this, but I like this. So I think I want to keep it. I want to give props to the writers, the directors, everyone who did what they needed to do. I think touching on the topic of astral projection in this manner is so interesting, because people always, you know, use astral projection in like movies like Insidious, or to say they're traveling to the spirit world. You know, it's very dark. And I feel like this is dark, but also dark in a more humane way than it having to do with the supernatural. Or it hints to the idea that humans are more than they think they are, and sometimes our mental illnesses or our handicaps that people tell us, like our nightmares or something, has more to do with our strengths than it has to do with our weaknesses. I've always said that, like, to me, watching the movie like Split, for instance, I was like, that's a freaking superpower, to be able to switch personalities, and as you switch personalities, your body changes with you. But I will say this. If you guys enjoyed this review, then scroll down, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notifications for when I post and more updates. If you guys have any more shows to suggest, please feel free to leave it in the comments and let me know how you feel. Let me know what's behind your eyes, if you can astral project or not, because if you can, hit me up. Let's, you know, count our fingers together and, you know, imagine our doors so we can travel the universe together. But for right now, this is all in Molly's world. I love you guys so much. Until next time. Mwah.